Hello, my name is Dean Stockman. The purpose of my speech today is to inform you of what I think is one of the most important issues facing men in the 21st century today, and that's obesity. According to the Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, obesity is a national epidemic. 36.5% of all Americans and over 38% of men in the U.S. are considered obese. Medical costs for obesity and obesity related issues that include diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, low fertility, and low testosterone are staggering. A whopping $190 billion is spent annually in the U.S. alone. More than 1 in 3 Americans is considered obese, and I'm one of them. I fought being overweight my entire life, and it's a constant daily struggle to make good food choices and keep my weight down. Like a lot of people, my weight issue started when I was very young. I grew up in a divorced family. My mother and I moved around a lot, and because we moved around so much, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, and I spent many days in front of the TV eating junk food. I struggled with my weight all through high school. I tried to stay active, but when a serious car accident left me physically unable to exercise for months at a time, my weight spiraled, and my plan to join the Air Force was slowly becoming an issue. But as soon as I was able, I worked the weight off, and I just squeaked under the maximum allowable weight to be able to join. Let me tell you, basic training is tough, but being the fat guy in basic training is even tougher. Training instructors were constantly on me, watching everything I ate, drank, and did. And they made me run everywhere. But I was successful, and I had to adopt that basic training mentality and watch what I ate and exercise almost every day of my Air Force career just to maintain my minimum standards. The National Institute of Health states that obesity is the #2 cause of preventable death in the U.S., and 300,000 deaths per year are attributed to obesity and obesity-related issues. Americans are fat, and if we continue down the path we're going, in 13 short years, by 2030, over 44% of the entire population and 48% of all men will be obese. Think about that for a minute. 48% of all men in the U.S. will be obese. That's a staggering statistic. Before we can fix the issue, we need to know what it is. The medical community and the CDC uses the BMI, or body mass index, to determine body fatness. And that's the standard you use to determine obesity. If your BMI is above 30, you are considered obese. There are a number of factors that can cause obesity. Genetics and family history play a part, but the major contributing factor is behavior. Eating too much, not eating enough proper food, and not getting enough exercise is the major issue. Now we know what it was and is, what do we do about it? Well, to me, it seems like we're always waiting. Americans are waiting for the magic bullet, whether it's a pill or a prescription, or we're waiting for the government to help regulate the food industry to help us lose weight. On paper, obesity seems like an easy fix. Eat less, eat proper food, exercise, lose weight. But it isn't that simple. According to the website, State of Obesity, they cite 3 things that will help solve the epidemic. Education is the first key. They state that starting education as early as preschool age children and continuing that all through high school, and then having an active community education and prevention program works. But there are only 17 states in the U.S. that have these policies in place. And the New York Academy of Medicine found that an investment of just $10 per person in a proven community-based program that increases activity, improves nutrition, and talks about prevention could save the country more than $16 billion a year, and that's within the first 5 years. The second key is to making sure and giving the people the opportunity to eat properly, making sure they have access to good, wholesome food at a decent cost, and then making sure they know how to cook it and prepare it so it's still nutritious and they understand food portions. And the final key is physical activity. They state that just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, is enough to stem the epidemic and is a step in the right direction. In the last few minutes, I've talked to you about obesity, its causes, some statistic, cost, and future projections of it. I talked a little about my own personal issues with obesity and the 3 things that we can do to stem the epidemic. And in closing, by educating ourselves, watching what we eat, and exercising, we can combat the #1 issue in the 21st century today, obesity. Thank you very much.